The anthem of Yerevan State University now is going to play. Esteemed colleagues and distinguished guests, welcome to the International Conference dedicated to the 90th anniversary of the Faculty of Management and Economics. It's a pleasure to welcome so many participants joining us on this amazing occasion. As we begin our event, it's important to hear from a person who has made a great contribution to the organization of this conference, the Dean of YSU Faculty of Management and Economics, Mr. Karlen Khachatryan, for his welcoming speech.
Honorable guests, dear colleagues and friends, good morning and welcome to the International Conference on the Transformative Economy. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before such a distinguished gathering of scientists, practitioners, and policymakers, united by a shared commitment to understanding and shaping the future of our global economy. As the Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Management at Yerevan State University, I am very proud that our institution has the opportunity to initiate this scientific conference. We are very pleased that about 100 scientists from 23 countries responded to our invitation and will have presentation in different sections over the next 3 days. We live in a time of profound changes driven by technological advances, economic shifts, and societal transformations that is reshaping the way we live, work, and interact. And the themes of this conference, transformative economy, digital technology, spatial disparities, and quality of life are at the very heart of these global changes. Digital technologies has become an essential force, redefining industries, altering labor markets, and also transforming human interactions. So it has an essential potential to lead innovation, productivity, and also access to the services. And at this case, we must also recognize that the digital revolution brings with it new challenges, from widening spatial disparities between urban and rural areas to the digital divide that leaves many individuals and communities behind. So this brings us to the question of spatial disparities. While economic growth has lifted millions out of poverty, it has not done so evenly across all regions. Disparities in infrastructure, access to education, healthcare, and opportunities persist are exacerbating inequalities. And these spatial inequalities are not even economic, but also social, influencing the overall quality of life for millions around the globe. And the challenge before us, and the theme of this conference, is how we can harness the transformative power of digital technology to reduce these disparities and improve the quality of life for all. How can we create an inclusive growth that impacts all segments of society, regardless of their geographic location? And what is important, how can we ensure that the transformative economy works for the many, not just the few? Over the coming days, we will explore these questions through discussions, presentations, and exchange of ideas. We will hear from thought leaders who will share their insights and experiences how we can navigate the complexities of these issues. So I encourage each of you to engage actively, challenge assumptions, and contribute your own perspectives. Let us also take this opportunity to build new connections and collaborations. The solutions of these challenges cannot be found in isolation. They require interdisciplinary thinking and cross-border cooperation. I am confident that this conference will not only advance our understanding of the transformative economy, but also foster partnerships that will continue long over this event concludes. We intend to make this conference an annual event and hope that through joint efforts we will be able to create an effective platform for generating ideas and discussing most important issues facing global economy. In closing, I would like to thank all of you for your participation and commitment to these pressing issues. I extend my gratitude to our organizing and scientific committees for their tireless work in bringing this scientific event to life. And also special thanks to our general sponsor, Biblos Bank Armenia, and all partners for their invaluable contribution. I wish you all a productive and insightful conference, and I look forward for discussions and ideas that will emerge from our collective effort. Thank you and welcome once again.
Thank you, Mr. Khachatryan. Next, we are excited to welcome the rector of Yerevan State University, Mr. Hovannes Hovanesyan, for his opening speech.
Dear professors, dear guests, dear members of government, dear students, I'm very excited to have these opening remarks for the scientific conference. And also I'm very excited that our Faculty of Management and Economy has already so long history for 90 years. It's very obligatory for us to have such a long history, comparatively long history for Armenia, and it's very obligatory for us to give quality education and scientific results. I would say that in recent 2 years, the Faculty of Management and Economy went through very massive changes and reforms. Now young people took the leading role in the faculty, and also in the sense of the science, the faculty started to publish more articles. And the recent news we got that recently the staff of the faculty got 2 distance labs from the state Committee of Higher Education and Science, which is very, very good for promotion of the science in the Faculty of Economy and Management. So I would like to to say my words of my thanks to all people working in this faculty, especially the professors who have their devotion to educate new generation, who will play essential role in our country, especially in our economy. Everything is connected with the economy, and today's topic of the conference, the international conference, where already was mentioned that 100 people from around the world are taking part, which is very good. So, and the topic of the conference, the Transformative Economy, Digital Technology, Spatial Disparities, and Quality of Life, it shows that how the economy can impact on our quality of life on the everyday basis. And many things depends on us, and especially on the new tendencies which we see in this field, which are connected with the data science for business, which we have an MA degree program at Yerevan State University, and soon I would like to stress this fact that we are going to have a supercomputer at Yerevan State University, which will allow us to have much comprehensive and much deeper analysis and researches in the field of data science. And this is a huge opportunity for our economists to have more results, new publications, etc. So I would like to one more time to thank all the people who were involved in this process. This is a long process, so the dean organized quite long process with different kind of events. So and would like to say my thanks to the people who supported the Biblos Bank Armenia, already was mentioned, and the other our partners who are working with us very, very closely. And from this stage, I would like one more time to stress that the connection with the private sector and the university is essential for both parts. For university to give quality education, for the private sector to get more involved into our life and into our work. And today we see the evidence of this in this hall. Thank you very much for this wonderful event, and hope in the coming days we will have fruitful discussions, and after that we will have good articles to be published. I don't know where, but it's very important to have published articles. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Hovanesyan. Now it's my honor to invite the Governor of the Central Bank of Armenia, Mr. Martin Galestyan.
Good morning, esteemed guests, colleagues, and friends. I'd like to thank the organizers, and it is my great privilege to be here with you today. I'd like to thank Yerevan State University for putting together this remarkable program, featuring scholars, policymakers, and thought leaders at the forefront of change and innovation around the world. The world today is undergoing a series of seismic shifts, which threatens to shaken the very foundations of the global economic, social, and political order. At the heart of this transformation is the emergence and acceleration of new digital technologies and artificial intelligence, which are fundamentally reshaping on both a macro and micro level how we work, live, and play. In this era of profound uncertainty and transformation, the key question for us as policymakers, researchers, and thought leaders is not whether we can avoid these challenges altogether. Rather, the question ought to be whether we have a vision in place for harnessing these changes to ensure that the benefits of digitization and technology are reaped by the many and not just the few. This, I believe, lies at the crux of the topics and challenges we will be discussing over the next few days, years probably as well, and decades, but these days. It is my hope that this conference will provide a platform for us to critically examine these issues and share in our ideas and encourage us to begin paving the way toward a more just, inclusive, and sustainable global future. What might this inclusive and sustainable digital future look like? Perhaps it is easiest to begin by understanding where we presently fell short. Today, we're faced with an immense challenge of growing digital divide, where unequal access to internet and basic technology threatens to limit opportunities for billions around the globe, especially in lower income countries. Without systemic solutions in place to ensure more equal access to technology, global inequalities are only going to worsen, significantly damaging the development of trajectory of low-income countries and ensuring that wealth, human capital, and intellectual property remain concentrated in wealthiest countries. But even within the middle and upper income countries, the opportunities presented by digital technologies are not uniformly dispersed. Let me bring a familiar example. During the pandemic, we witnessed how unequal access to technology hindered the ability of children in rural and poverty-stricken areas to attain a decent education, permanently setting them back relative to their peers and exacerbating inequalities with these countries for many years to come. It is therefore imperative that major efforts be undertaken to find fundamental solutions to close this digital divide. This can help ensure that accelerating technological advancements create broad growth opportunities for everyone, rather than deepen existing disparities. As we strive for greater digital accessibility and inclusion, we must seek to leverage the immense growth opportunities offered by new technological advancement and artificial intelligence, while also minimizing the growing risks that they can create for states, businesses, and ordinary people. Central to this idea is the need to develop a comprehensive national digital infrastructure. This can provide a common sense groundwork for governing and supporting technological development. This includes the appropriate infrastructure for supporting resilient cybersecurity and guaranteeing privacy and data rights. But beyond safeguarding privacy and security, digital infrastructure also means setting best-in-class regulations and standards for new growth drivers, including digital identification, digital payment systems, data interoperability, and so on. A well-regulated, transparent, and dynamic digital infrastructure is an essential foundation for supporting the development of a robust and inclusive digital economy and society, which fully harness new growth opportunities and remain resilient against emerging digital risks. I would like to introduce and to conclude my remarks by emphasizing an important point. We must recognize that digital transformation is not taking place in a vacuum, and technological advancement and the emergence of AI are not only major changes we have to reckon with. Various new challenges, from a deepening climate crisis and widening inequality to unsustainable national debt levels and geopolitical and economic fragmentation, point to the fact that we're truly really living in a new era that requires new approaches. In this uncertain era of transformation, the solutions that we craft and the reforms that we institute must be interconnected and complementary, working in service of a broader vision supporting greater stability, sustainability, and equity, both in our respective countries and around the world. In this regard, I'm confident that the various topics we will be discussing over the next few days, for sustainable development in the integration to financial markets and management to global economic trends and policy, will provide a strong platform for exploring solutions to these challenges at both a strategic and tactical level. In closing, thank you once again to Yerevan State University, the organizers, and all of you for your commitment to making this event a success. I encourage you all to take full advantage of the opportunities presented at this conference to connect and collaborate with one another as we look to harness these important transformations to create a more thriving and inclusive digital future that works for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Galestian. We deeply appreciate your participation in our initiatives. Now I would like to give the floor to the President of the Regional Science Association International, Mr. Hans Westland, for his speech.
Thank you very much. Dear organizers and dear colleagues, as President of the Regional Science Association International, it's a great honor for me to say a few words here in the opening of this international conference. The world is not a spot. At the moment, the world is divided in 195 independent countries. Almost all these countries contain regions, cities, villages, areas of very different kinds. And there are huge differences between these units when it comes to climate, land use, population density, language, culture, wealth, and so on. So instead of being a spot, the world can be described as a very complicated mosaic. Many academic disciplines analyze the world, and most of them specialize more and more in order to understand the innermost essence of things. But specialization might also lead to that you miss out the structures and how things are connected to each other. And therefore, there is a need for transdisciplinary approaches that are able to combine information, thoughts, ideas, etc., from various disciplines, and thereby produce something new, synthesis, that the specialized disciplines cannot achieve. One such transdisciplinary discipline, and an important one, is regional science. Regional science studies human interaction in space and the expressions and the effects of these spatial interactions. The concept of space means that regional science not only studies regions, but also what happens within regions and between regions. And as there are such differences between regions, and most of them also within regions, it is indeed necessary to take such differences into account and analyze why they exist instead of just looking at national averages. Regional science consists of various combinations of knowledge from a number of disciplines. We regional scientists often have our roots in, for example, economics, business administration, management, geography, or planning, but we have discovered that many problems of regional development simply need transdisciplinary approaches in order to be analyzed and eventually solved. Within the field of regional science and its connected disciplines, there are in principle two basic conflicting theories. We have on the one hand the classic and dominating economic theories saying that the gaps between countries, regions, and so on eventually will even out if we only stay patient and let the market work. But on the other hand, we have theories of cumulative causation For example, theories of path dependencies, and one of them is the new economic geography that says that once a new path-breaking change occurs, certain countries, certain regions or places get an initial advantage that they will keep until a new path-breaking shift occurs. And the really tricky thing here is that we every day can see examples that indicate that both these theories are right, although not at the same place or at the same time. And if anything, this shows that our missions as regional scientists is very far from being completed. But regional science is not only a science for theoretical understanding of the world, it's also a science that in praxis wants to contribute to a better, sustainable and more equal world in which regions develop and prosper. The last years, the world has developed in directions that I think no one of us had expected. We have terrible and growing conflicts that, if the worst comes to the worst, threaten to throw the world into a new world war. For regional science, this means new challenges. Even if we are very good in economics, geography, and planning, we need to understand that a better world must be based on fair, equal, and functioning institutions that can lay the ground for a social capital that promotes trustworthy and fair relations between individuals, regardless religion, race, or gender. There are, of course, experts in all these fields, but very few of them know anything about how these problems happen in space. So also, in the sometimes very rotten business of politics, regional science should be a beacon for science, social justice, and peaceful solutions. If we are able to take the challenge, we should remember that the founder of regional science, Professor Walter Isaac, was also very engaged in the international movement for peace. In spite of all these threats we face in the world, we must still be positive. I have a very strong feeling that our knowledge and expertise will be needed more and more. Or, to express it very briefly, it's springtime for regional science. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westland. We would like to take a moment and to express once again our sincere gratitude to our general sponsor, Biblos Bank Armenia, for their generous support. Now it's my pleasure to invite to the stage Mr. Haik Stepanyan, Chief Executive Officer of Biblos Bank Armenia.
Good morning. I will not take too much time of you. Thank you for the invitation. It's a personal privilege for me and for Biblos Bank Armenia to be supporting 19th anniversary of this esteemed faculty. The contributions of the faculty to the economy of Armenia cannot be overstated. The faculty during all these years has produced generations of economists, policymakers, business leaders, which had their distinguished impact in the economy of Armenia. And we personally and as a bank could not have missed this occasion to support our alma mater in celebration of 19th anniversary. I am particularly pleased that these celebrations include conference of such a scholar rigor. It is my sincere hope that the discussions held here will not only generate innovative ideas, but also foster collaboration between universities through different countries. Also importantly, I hope that this conference will inspire the students of Yerevan State University as they embark on their academic and professional journey. Biblos Bank Armenia stands ready and eager to continue supporting the faculty and supporting similar initiatives. as we strongly believe that the intersection of academia and the industry is essential for sustainable growth and sustainable economic development. In closing, I would like to once again thank esteemed leadership of the faculty and the university for organizing this remarkable event, and wish you all productive and insightful conference. On personal note, I would like to thank all faculty members, professors for their excellent job during these years, and I hope you all success during the coming years. Thank you very much.
We are very grateful to Mr. Stepanyan for his inspiring words. Now I would like to introduce the Vice President of the Regional Science Academy, Mr. Peter Nijkamp.
My dear colleagues and friends, I'm very grateful to the Yerevan State University for making this event possible. It's a unique event in the history of the university, and I'm very grateful to all of you who are here and who contribute to the success of this big international conference. And I'm personally particularly grateful to be back in this country, a country with such a rich history dating back many centuries even to the early roots of Western civilization. So it's a beautiful place to be here, and I hope that all of us can contribute to the success of this undertaking. I would like to thank in particular our Dean, Carlin, and also the Vice Dean, Varden. Where is Varden? Oh, he's there. Okay, good. But thank you very much, and of course the Rector and all the others who have supported this undertaking. The Regional Science Academy, of which I'm a Vice President, is somewhat of a sister organization of the Regional Science Association International. Regional Science Association International is a big scientific association, thousands of members worldwide, and as all of you will know, and whether this is regional science or the American Economic Association or whatever, each association at some stage, they do all the good things. They have conferences and they publish, etc. But at some stage, you need some sort of what I would call an off-board engine to create some dynamics. The established thing works very well and everyone is satisfied, but now and then you need an innovative push so as to bring on the table new ideas and new research topics. And the Regional Science Academy sees it as its task, in cooperation with the Regional Science Association International and with many other international bodies, to generate new knowledge. And we do this by organizing workshops, special sessions, participating in international conferences, etc. So all over the past, 7, 8 years, I think we have contributed to more than 50 or 60 scientific events all over the world, starting first with a first conference organized by Hans Westland, the previous speaker, on the relevance of big data. Very important topic. And every time we try to bring up new ideas and new concerns, not always the solutions, but even the awareness of certain new topics is important. And sometimes we criticize also established wisdom. One example, some of you may have read the book by Thomas Freeman, The World is Flat. And that book argues that in our digital era, everyone has access to digital technology, and more or less the whole world is flat and there is not so much of a difference. Whether you live in New York or whether you live in a small village in India, everyone has access. The world, by the way, is not flat at all. The world is geographically not flat. The world is from a peace perspective not flat. the world is from a social perspective not flat, and in fact the whole world is very diversified. And it might even be the case that in our digital technology era, the disparities might increase rather than decrease. And then we have to find out how come. Is this a matter of education? Yes, education, very important. That's why we have to compliment this country, Armenia, with its great educational and university system. That is, I think, is a great asset. But many more things have to be done. And that means that we have to always put forward new ideas, be aware of this. And the world is changing. I give you one simple example. Maybe not that much relevant for Armenia because it's not a sea country. But nowadays, in the field of transport logistics, so many changes are happening we are not aware of. China is a cheap producer of many commodities all over the world. So they dominate, they're the biggest factory of our world. So they dominate the world. But it could not be done if there would not be a digital logistics system which would support that. One example, if you take the city of the port of Rotterdam, apart from Singapore, the biggest port in the world, if you see container ships coming in 400 meters long, 40 meters wide, 30 meters high, it's just like, if you see it, it's just like a small city passing by. 7,000 to 9,000 containers. And in each of these containers, you have to know exactly what is inside the container because you have to distribute it all over the world and all over Europe. A logistic operation which without any digital technology would be totally impossible. So that's why the digital era is important, but also, of course, you have to realize that this is becoming so cheap to send us any product from China to Europe or any place in the world, thanks to modern logistic container terminal, it does not cost almost a penny. It's very, very cheap. So China is not competitive only because of its low wage cost. It's competitive because the transport costs are almost negligible. Of course, it might take millions, but given the large volume per good, the transport costs are very, very low. And that makes, of course, these countries very competitive for the whole world. That also explains their important economic, logistic, and technological place. So a few examples I've mentioned just to indicate that we have to be aware of all the new developments and we have to bring on the table new ideas on artificial intelligence, on machine learning, but also on new well-being concepts, because it's not only on GDP and money, it's also on new well-being, an important topic nowadays, and so on. So all in all, the Regional Science Academy tries to bring together this type of knowledge, to generate new knowledge, and then we hope that this will be to the benefit of the whole world. We do publications, we do workshops, we do participation, and we try to, in fact, provide support to any activity which makes sense. And again, have to compliment this university and the Faculty of Economics and Management, because this is exactly what ought to be at the forefront of generating new knowledge. That's why we need all our students. I'm so happy to see many students over there, because that's the new generation, and they have to make it, and they have to build on what has been produced by senior scientists. So all in all, I'm very happy to be here. And as a small gesture, I would like to give a small gift to the Faculty of Economics and Management for its library, a recent book which just has been published by the Regional Science Academy on the future of livable cities. And I would like to hand this over for the library of the faculty. So, Carlin.
Thank you, Gordon, for your commitment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. We are also honored to have with us Thomas Dentino, Editor-in-Chief of Regional Science Policy and Practice.
I like that photo, it's younger. Okay, well, Mr. Rector, thank you very much for having us here governor of Bank of Armenia, the Bank of Byblos Bank, the dean, and Peter, and of course Hans. I like also to thank Anait, that now is in London, and Anait is here there, and Anait, and the Gulbenkian Foundation that some time ago allowed us to come here with these meetings that somehow were broken by the COVID. And in fact, from Portugal, I have to thank Armenia. In fact, Mr. Gulbenkian, Carlos Gulbenkian was called the man of the 5% man. I don't know that you know that 5% man. And in fact, the Gulbenkian Foundation is 5% of the government of Portugal, because it is the cultural minister since he came to Portugal. And if you visit Portugal, if you visit Lisbon and Portugal generally, you must go to this wonderful building and wonderful museum that exists there in the center of Lisbon, due to Gulbenkian. Well, Yerevan this time, I think eventually it will be repeated, and we can repeat this important moment for all life, the connection between East and West, North and South, the pillar of humanity, somehow Mount Ararat there, so you have a place to do things like that. And we are, like Hans and the others told us, we are in a crucial moment of conflict, of going back into the globalization that we talk about, that created so much wealth around the world. So this is, in fact, an important moment for the university and for the university all over the world, and for regional science as well. In fact, that's our task, location, that's our task, borders, that's our task, interaction. That's what we looking with many disciplines, with methods, and with effective evidences. That's what we do in regional science, policy and practice, and the other journals in this field. Sometimes we are able to have good methods, sometimes we are able to have good science, and sometimes we are able to get good results. But now it is a time that, like the medical doctors, we join all to face a problem, to look at solutions, and to look at solutions from a scientific perspective, and with the data, with results, with effectiveness. Let me give you just two examples that I'm going around. If we look at statistics, world statistics, you know that the poor countries are the ones that have more mobile phones. Why? Because a mobile phone is not very expensive, and second-hand is not very expensive at all. So what they need, so is to go to Calcutta, the poor regions are the ones who would have more mobile phones, because people are clever, are rational, and they buy mobile phones instead of buying cars. But they have to pay. They never have credit on the mobile phone. So because of that, they cannot get job easily, and because of that, they cannot have the right bus to take. It's easy. That happens in Kolkata, that happens in Luanda. It's easy. So just to have free mobile phones. No, free mobile phones. It's not the mobile phone. They have the mobile phones. Free credit in those regions, in those places, and then the world will be much better for them. Another thing that and it is important, science, is that the world is moving fast. Geographers are good on that. They give names to things. And we have so much lack of names in this world. I go to so much lack of knowledge, easy knowledge. I have this interaction with a new group of informal urbanism, with Angola, Mozambique, Brazil, Spain, and so on. And then our colleagues from there, sorry, we cannot do nothing because the land is from the state. It is in the constitution. Come on. Yeah, you can rule that law. You can change the world. This mindset that somehow you have different vocabularies in other countries that can even deal with that assumption, with that constitutional assumption, which is natural. And our colleagues don't have vocabulary, names to change the minds, not to change the minds, to look, there is a solution for your problem. And because there is not a solution, there is corruption, because the market of land goes on. So I think we have a lot to do with in teaching, and through teaching and teaching in an evolution in a world that is changing a lot. And I invite you to submit to your work to these journals of regional science. You can learn a lot. Our editors are very, well, I came from Portugal, so I'm learning still how to write a nice paper. And I think this exercise of submitting your own work and being able to deal with the editors and with the reviewers is crucial to change our minds. I think, well, we know that. We have the Soviet Union break out, or the Eastern Bloc break out, I don't know, 20 years ago. The mindset, the social science was different from the social science in the West. We can learn about, we can enhance our vocabulary, not only in one sense or the other. I agree that with Professor Hans, and in fact there is a problem of convergence and divergence. But the real world that we want is interaction, is love. It's not like to have convergence or divergence, because that's convergence of wealth. What is the value is not in the capital. The value is in interaction. And in regional science, we are dealing with this interaction, with the interaction of people within space. Thank you very much.